What's up guys, Acer Thorn here, and welcome back to part 3 of my analysis of Skyrim's Dark Brotherhood questline. This is the third video in a 3-part series, so if you have not seen the first 2 episodes, you will not know what is going on. If you want to watch, or even refresh yourself on, parts 1 and 2 of this analysis, you can click on the card that I provide right here. I will also provide links to part 1 and 2 of this analysis in the description of this video. So, now that everyone is all caught up, let's continue. So, we report back to the Sanctuary, and we find that Cicero has gone completely AWOL and tried to kill Astrid.
Marrow is dead, I know, but we've got bigger problems right now. The fool went absolutely berserk. He wounded Vizara, tried to kill me, and then he fled. I knew that lunatic couldn't be trusted.
Surprisingly, he left the Night Mother's body in the Falkreath Sanctuary despite that literally being his top priority in life. So we check his quarters and find 4 journals. I've already mentioned a few of the excerpts from the journals already, so I won't get into too much detail about what they contain. What I will say though is that after I read Cicero's most recent journal, I get a dialogue option with Astrid that he's gone to the Dawnstar Sanctuary.
Have you found something? Good, good. Does it say where he may be headed? The Dawnstar Sanctuary? Whatever for.
However, his most recent journal never actually says that. It says he was in the Dawnstar Sanctuary before coming to Falkreath, which may explain why during the quest Delayed Burial he is stationed so far north of Falkreath when he's supposed to be relocating from Cyrodiil. But the journal doesn't say that he plans to go to that sanctuary after killing Astrid. For that matter, why would he even want to go there? What does he hope to find there? He isn't taking the Night Mother's coffin with him, so it's not like he's protecting the Night Mother from Astrid. He has literally no reason to go there. But whatever, that actually ends up being where he went despite all logic. So we go to the Dawnstar Sanctuary and meet Cicero curled up in a fetal position because Astrid's husband stabbed him just before he went in. He asks us to let him live and just tell Astrid we killed him.
So walk away. Let poor Cicero live. Tell Astrid you did the job. Stabbed, strangled, drowned poor Cicero. A tiny white lie for a dark assassin.
This begs the question, though. Why can't we ever lie about having done the legwork for a quest in any other quest? Like, when we're reporting to the steward to turn in a bounty quest, why can't we just lie and say we killed the bandit leader? In-universe, the steward never asks to see the bandit's head as proof of the deed. So, what the hell? This isn't really a plot hole with the Dark Brotherhood questline, but it's still something that I feel compelled to bring up. So when we report back to Astrid, that leads us into the quest Recipe for Disaster. And let me warn you, this is where things get really contrived. So once the Emperor is in Skyrim, our plan is to impersonate one of his chefs and slip him some poisoned food. But we can't just impersonate any chef. The staff of Castle Dower probably know the faces of all the chefs who work there. Fortunately, we're in luck, because the Emperor is commissioning one of the most famous and mysterious chefs in all Tamriel to come cook for him.
The gourmet is scheduled to cook for the Emperor at a special dinner. You'll kill him, steal his writ of passage, and assume the role of Master Chef.
I mean, I wonder why he doesn't just focus on the business at hand that brought him to Skyrim in the first place, and wait until he gets back to Cyrodiil to enjoy this legendary chef's cooking. But that's a plot hole that can be explained away with the fan theory that the plot to assassinate the Emperor came from the Emperor himself. But what I'd like to know is, why does the gourmet even need to keep his identity a secret in the first place? Seriously, what does he gain from that? The reason is because Bethesda needs the gourmet's identity to be a secret so you can pretend to be him without the guards at Castle Tower immediately picking up on the act. But seriously, in-universe, what's the gourmet's reason for wanting to keep his identity a secret? Oh, and as if that wasn't contrived enough, it turns out the Dark Brotherhood has had the most incredible stroke of luck. Turns out, the gourmet had an autographed copy of his latest cookbook to be delivered to one of his personal friends in Markarth, and it was given to a courier that Festus Krex just happened to kill on the road for no apparent reason.
In my investigations, I came upon this. It's a copy of the gourmet's cookbook. But not just any copy. It's signed, you see. Seems to be a message from the gourmet to one Anton Varan.
What? Huh? You've gotta be kidding me! No, seriously, what the hell? Festus just literally killed some random-ass dude and just happened to find he was delivering an artifact at the exact moment that artifact could be used in furtherance of our main plot to kill the Emperor. What are the odds? Even if we accept that the Emperor commissioned his own assassination, the odds of the planets aligning this perfectly is absolutely astronomical. I can accept that the Emperor might have brought the gourmet to Skyrim in the hopes that he would be killed and a Dark Brotherhood assassin would impersonate him. But what are the odds he would just happen to send an autographed copy of his book to a friend of his at the exact right time we needed to intercept that copy in order to learn his identity? Compare that to Oblivion's Thieves Guild questline. The second half of that questline has us stealing valuable artifacts for the Grey Fox. Like the assassinations in Skyrim's Dark Brotherhood, these thefts are only a means to an end, and they pave the way for a much greater heist, that of one of the Elder Scrolls themselves. However, this isn't contrived. The only thing the Grey Fox just already knew you needed to steal for him was Sevilla's stone in the Temple of Ancestor Moths. And there are any number of ways he could have figured out beforehand that the stone was located there and what it did. That's not nearly as contrived as this quest line. Once he had the stone, he was able to use its powers to see every other object you needed to steal in preparation for the ultimate heist. And those objects were made in advance of the quest line, and their locations were able to be concretely ascertained with the help of the stone. But this, we're given no indication that any supernatural force had caused this book to appear on Festus's recent random killing just at the moment when the plot called for it. The only magic at work here is the magic of plot convenience. Maybe you could say that Montieri carefully planned all of this to happen. He has, after all, been planning this assassination for a few years.
So much has led to this day. So much planning and maneuvering. It's as if the very stars have finally aligned.
So clearly all the details had been meticulously planned out. But if he knew the gourmet's identity himself, to the point where he knew what strings to pull, why didn't he just tell us who the damn gourmet was, instead of being such a vague bastard and expecting us to find the clues? Does he not want us to succeed in this mission? Okay. Deep breaths. So, we go and scare the Markarth chef into telling us that the gourmet is an orc and is holed up in a place called Nightgate Inn.
Look, his name is Balagor Gronolobe. He's an orc. The gourmet's an orc. He's staying at the Nightgate Inn.
Which is on literally the opposite side of Skyrim from Castle Dour in Solitude. So, was the plan to send a carriage to pick the gourmet up when it was time for him to actually come to Castle Dour for his cooking job? If so, how does that not instantly blow our cover when the carriage heads over to Nightgate Inn and the gourmet is nowhere to be found? So now all the pieces are finally in place. And I gotta hand it to Bethesda. The atmosphere for this quest is really well done. If you ignore all the contrivances and plot holes up to this point, this really feels like a climax. It really feels like you've worked your ass off to get to this moment.
Now you'd better get a move on and see Astrid. It's time. Time for the final stage of this grand and glorious operation.
It took all the favors, bribes, and blackmails I could muster, but I've secured your exit out of the keep. Just follow my instructions, and the Dark Brotherhood will be back on top. All thanks to you, listener.
Astrid gives you a super poisonous herb that's native to Black Marsh for you to slip into the Emperor's meal. You head over to Castle Dour in Solitude, where Commander Marrow, who saw me kill his son right in front of him, pretends not to recognize me.
Stop right there. The tower is off limits until further notice. By Azra. The gourmet. I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
We're brought into Castle Dour's kitchen, where the regular cook there has already prepared 99% of the soup. Well, that sure is convenient that we don't have to recreate this exceedingly complex dish from scratch. That would be kind of awkward if we had no idea how to make this dish when we're supposed to be the one who invented it. But on the other hand, doesn't that kind of defeat the whole purpose of bringing in the gourmet to cook for the Emperor in the first place? So we feed the dish to the Emperor. He dies, with or without the Jaren root, and we head out the back door and try and escape Solitude, and we walk right into a trap.
That man was, by far, the most insufferable decoy the Emperor has ever employed. I'm glad he's dead, but I'm even happier that you killed him. You, an assassin for the Dark Brotherhood, just made an attempt on the Emperor's life. Would have succeeded had it been the real man. Surprised? So was I when a member of your family came to me with a plan. We worked out a deal, you see. An exchange. I get you, and the Dark Brotherhood gets to continue its existence. But you know what? I've changed my mind. How about this? I kill you, and butcher each and every one of your miserable little friends. Your sanctuary's being put to the sword right now. That's what I think of this deal. You killed my son. All of you. And now you'll pay the price. Kill him. Make sure there's nothing left to bury.
Now, in my playthrough, you could make the argument that Marrow recognizes me as the guy who killed his son in front of him in broad daylight. But this cutscene happens regardless of whether he saw that. So, his knowledge of what you were doing comes from the conversation he had with Astrid. But here's the real contrivance. If he knew who you were from the beginning, why didn't he and his men just attack you immediately? Did he really hate that decoy that much that he just wanted to get that decoy out of the way? For that matter, what was the decoy's reason for going through with this whole decoy plan? If Marrow knew the Gourmet was a Dark Brotherhood assassin to the point where he would even need a decoy in the first place, why doesn't the decoy just respond to this request by saying,
How about no, you crazy Dutch bastard?
I mean, I'll die to protect the Emperor if it really is necessary, but why the hell should I lay down my life when you already know who he is and could just kill him on sight, dumbass? Maybe you could make the argument that they wanted to make absolutely certain that this guy really was an assassin and not the actual real-life Gourmet. Except that clearly isn't the case either. Commander Marrow says outright that he was expecting you because one of your faction betrayed the faction and spilled the beans to Marrow. So clearly, that theory is out the window. So you dispatch these two Penitus Oculatus agents and head back to the Sanctuary to help defend it. Only Nazir, Babette, and sorta Astrid, we'll get to her in a minute, survive the attack. You survive by slipping back into the Night Mother's coffin, this time with her permission.
Listener, I am your only salvation. Come, embrace me.
She tells you to find Astrid here in the Sanctuary, and when you do, she confesses to being the traitor and asks you to kill her so she can repent her crimes.
And to prove my sincerity, I have prayed for a contract. You must kill me.
After you do that, you go back to the Night Mother's coffin, and she feeds you a bit of Deus Ex Machina.
We must fulfill our contract. Emperor Titus Mede II must be eliminated. Speak with Armand Mortier at the Bannered Mare in Whiterun. He will know the true Emperor's location.
After you do that, you go back to the Night Mother's coffin, and she feeds you a bit of Deus Ex Machina. How does she know to go to the Bannered Mare? I mean, I can understand that the Night Mother can tell when and where the Black Sacrament is performed and who performed it. That always made sense, and it's kind of necessary to accept that in order for the Dark Brotherhood to function at all. But the Handless Clapper didn't do the Black Sacrament a second time, as evidenced by the fact that he's surprised to see you there.
What is it? I said I didn't wish to be disturbed. By the gods. You're alive! But I'd heard your sanctuary.
So I have to renew a question I asked earlier in this analysis. Is the Night Mother actually all-seeing? If so, why not give me a little heads up that the Emperor was being swapped out for a decoy and I was walking into a trap? Oh sure, I suppose it was necessary in order to get rid of Astrid, but was it worth sacrificing everyone else in the family? Festus Krex, more than anyone else, welcomed the Night Mother with open arms and welcomed the return to tradition, since he was the oldest member of the Brotherhood and thus probably the most nostalgia for the good old days before the previous listener was killed.
Mr. Cicero, I for one am delighted you and the Night Mother have arrived. Your presence here signals a welcome return to tradition.
Shouldn't he at least have been spared? And while we're on the topic, if she is all-seeing, why does she need you to speak with Monier to learn the Emperor's location? Why doesn't she just use her all-seeing powers to find the real Emperor her own damn self and tell you where he is? You know, the Night Mother can be kind of a bitch. So that about does it for the contrivances and plot holes from the Dark Brotherhood questline. However, I still want to make one thing perfectly clear. This questline is still enjoyable. I don't enjoy it nearly as much as the Oblivion Dark Brotherhood questline, but it's still perfectly enjoyable in its own right. Yes, the story has its contrivances and plot holes, but so does every story. It was only after literally thousands of hours playing Skyrim, and dozens of times playing through this questline in particular, that the cracks actually began to show. That is a testament to Bethesda's ability to suck me into the universe they've created. Yes, this storyline has its flaws, but literally every story has flaws, because every story in the history of the world is written by flawed human beings. I might have had a good time these last few weeks tearing into the plot holes of this questline, but think about it this way. The fact that I'm thinking so deeply about this story is a testament to just how, well, deep and thought-provoking this story is. So to Bethesda, if you're watching, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for Skyrim. Thank you for Oblivion. Thank you for Fallout 4. And to my subscribers and fans, thank you for your continued support. And to show you my appreciation for your subscribing and continued watching of my videos, starting next week, I've got something special planned for you. This was a 3-parter, but there are 5 Sundays next month. So starting next week and all next month, I'm going to have a 5-part discussion series. But for the time being, that will do it for today's video. If you enjoyed this analysis, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Also check out some of my Let's Plays that I'm currently doing, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. In the meantime, however, I am Mr. Thorne, and I will see you guys later.